It's recording. Okay, the meeting of the Gardner Airport Commission is now meeting at 5:25 on January 4th, 2023, first meeting of the year. We have a guests, speakers, and we have a quorum of 4, and we can get started with approving the minutes for the December 7th meeting. You need to look at them or go through them at all? They agree. That's fine.
I move we agree to the minutes from last time.
Seconded?
Well done.
Their minutes are approved. We'll go on to some old business, which is the AMA. I'll put you guys right at the top, and you can
There you go.
get going back home if you want, and whatever, and we'll go from there. So you may begin.
Okay. All right, so we represent the AMA. I think I have several of our associate vice presidents here. Steve, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Steve Rem, Associate Vice President. I live in Rhode Island.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadwick. I'm also an Associate Vice President for District 1 of the AMA, and I'm in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts.
Okay. All right. And you're an AMA member?
I'm an AMA member. I'm Steve Backey, but
Okay, you're very
Not a
smart
vice
to stay exactly where you are. Steve, by the way, thank you for the initial introductions and have you come to this meeting as well.
Yep.
My name is Andy Argenio.
and I'm Jim Sear.
And I forgot you, Jim. That's right. Yeah, you were part of the process too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last but not least.
Yeah, and I'm Andy Argenio. I'm a district vice president with the Academy of Model Aeronautics and also an executive board member. We have 11 of us across the country. I do New England, so we have the 6 states here. I've been involved in events here since 2000, and those would be scale events, jet events, the popular Huck Fest when we had them were here, our Fun Fly events were here. Nearly all those events got sanctioned either through me or through one of our contest directors. So we're certainly looking forward to, if there's an interest in utilizing the airport again, it's a perfect opportunity for us to bring more economic advantage to the area. When we usually have an event here, we utilize the hotels here, we utilize the bowling alley. Many times when we've had the events here and part of them got rained out, we'd end up there or we'd eat in the local restaurants. And then if you want to reintroduce the airport, especially now with what you have going on here, we serve on, I think we could serve in a capacity to bring people in here, get them back in interest in Gardner Airport and try to support other activities that may go on here. So over the years, like I say, we've done, the last event we did was 2018. And usually when we do these events, we set them up out here so that we bring in the tents, we bring in food vendors, we set up the safety protocols. I write up the paperwork for the events. We work with the Portland FSDO office so that we meet all the current FAA conditions. Every one of our pilots is insured today. They all pass a trust test, similar to what the Part 107 do in passing the ground school test to operate in controlled and uncontrolled airspace. Some of our members not only are recreational flyers, but they're also Part 107 drone operators. We kind of feed that community as well. So in that aspect, we're good. On the safety aspect, we're all with all current FAA regulations. I've been doing safety programming for them over the last 20 years. I began with all the drone stuff back in 2008. It was a nightmare. We've got beyond that now. They're integrated into our process, and we fly now under the 2018 Reauthorization Act, which is part of 91 57C, the advisory circular. And you can look that up if you want to see the restrictions that we fly under. So all of our safety programming now reflects and has been vetted through the FAA. And so if we were to have an event here, it would be like any of our other events, but it would be under approval through the local FISTO offices. And I'm assuming that Portland or Boston would be probably
I think
used
probably
to.
Boston's after.
Yeah. And sometimes they merit that, I guess, on what's going on. So in that respect, I think we'll be good. In terms of insurance, if we're having a larger event, I can bump insurance up to meet the needs. When we did Sanford Airport, and we had 23,000 people came to that event, we brought kids in, school buses. I don't anticipate that for here, but that was, that event required quite a bit more than we insure. From a normal $5 million, we had to go up to 20. So we have the capability to do that depending on the size of an event we might do. The potential we see for us and for you, well, let's talk about us first, is that obviously in New England, the nice thing about being here is it's centrally located. So when we've had events in other areas, we always get a diminished amount of attendance. But here has drawn in the past our best audiences in terms of our pilots, and also a lot of the people in the area would come down to watch the events as well. So we think it's a plus in that respect. And depending upon where you see the airport going, might be an opportunity for the airport to also bring in funds as well. And we certainly can work with you. We're open to working with you to participate in something. Let's say you wanted to do what we typically do with Wings and Wheels at Concord or Beverly Hills or Mount Washington or Plymouth. At those airports, they're having an event where they bring in the public. And usually they'll bring in vendors and people sell products and make it a fair kind of thing, because they want to introduce the people to what they're doing at these places. And we then come in a bit different than we would do here. We'll bring in our outreach team of show pilots. We might have Jim come along to do aerobatics. We might have IMAC guys come like Steve to want to have Jim do that kind of stuff, or other guys in the jet community who we've seen here over the years, like Jeff Lloyd, come in and do jets. So we can work something like that, or if you were intending to try to do something on that nature, and even bring in a couple of full-scale pilots if you really wanted to draw the public in, like we do at Mount Washington. You know, we've got locals that will come down. That young guy that flies the pits and his father will fly in. Some of that we can pitch in money, depending upon where you see that going and how that might work out. But I would say what you might want to consider for the beginning here, because the windows is kind of small, that what can we do for 2023? 2024, if you want to plan something for a bigger event. Now, what do we call a bigger event? Bigger events are usually 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and most of the guys start going home Saturday night, but Sunday. You agree, Jim?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and we usually allow them, when we used to do the events here, to come in on a Wednesday night. So we police it, we make sure it's right. There were some issues a long way back. I'll bring them up now for anybody that's been around with noise. I promise you this time, we're not going to bring in loudspeakers and a lot of that stuff. And I think our music was a little loud at one time, and we got that, we told you we'd handle that, we brought it down. Other incidents, I don't recall any incidents here. We had Mike Tarosi and other guys, we had radios equipped. If an airplane wanted to come in, we ground ourselves. We could be down in seconds, and you could be ready to rock and roll with whoever's coming in. So we don't mind taking appropriate action whenever necessary to curtail our airplanes in flight. So I don't see that as an issue. When we set up in here, like I say, it would depend on the size of the event. In terms of my programming from my end and our group, if it usually takes us to get it, and we have a lot of channels of media today we didn't have years back. Meaning, years back, I had to get it in a magazine, in our typical magazine, and get it out there, and most of these guys can tell you. We put our magazine columns out, the public doesn't see them for 2.5 months. So now with Facebook groups, with YouTube channel, we have all the channels now, and we can pump something out right now. And so the point is, that window isn't as long as it does to market. But what really reflects in our marketing is how far you want us to go. Meaning, I'm thinking start off with a medium-sized event like typically seen here, see what the potential is, and then you can see what a relationship with us might, and what we might be able to do to enhance what your goals might be, that reflect something that we would gain from it. I probably should let you respond to something, because
Well, I was gonna say, how many days would like a medium event be?
we would like to run an event from Thursday to Sunday, because we know Sunday's a travel day when they leave. Thursday, so you have heavy-duty events that run that way usually have best attendance on the Friday and Saturday. If you intend to invite the public, which I'm assuming you do, when we brought the public in here, we did not charge fees to the public. Steve worked the gate many times. We charged parking fees. We were $2. But we took that money and we gave it to the airport. We wanted us to raise it to 3 or 4. They parked on the back lot there. They parked partly on part there. We ran the gate. We set the people up. We stuck him or somebody there for 4 hours, 3 hours. Somebody else took turns. So I brought in a group of ADPs and we take turns helping to run the event and do it. At one time, Bob DeAngelis was on the board here, and of course he worked with us and helped us as well, and so we each reflected our efforts. But yeah, 4-day events would be ideal. If you said you guys wanted to do an IMAC, you can do those in what, 3? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually a Friday afternoon practice and then Saturday, Sunday by 2 o'clock.
No, IMAC is more of a competition event for guys to fly. Is it an event that's going to draw in the public? Absolutely not. Will they come in? They might. It's a bit, I'm not going to use the term boring.
It is a bit boring.
But it isn't boring to us, because we're watching the guys maneuvers. Hey, how neat is he? You doing this
I
right or
think one
not?
of the other things worth mentioning is the longer event, the 3-4-day events are gonna draw pilots from further away.
Oh, yeah.
They're willing to load up the trailer and make a longer drive if they're gonna fly
We used
more
to have a
days.
couple with flying.
Yes. Well,
Right.
we drew on the Huck Fest events. Those were the nasty times when aerobatics got real popular and what we called 3D. Now we fly extreme flight, which is a little more aggressive, a little more speed, a little more, I call it,
High energy.
high energy maneuvers. I'm looking for the new terms. This guy's gonna help me out over here. But yeah, in those days, that was our big event. And that event actually drew people here from California. By the way, I'll give you these. Did anybody see the original letter I sent out?
I did, only because Rob forwarded it to me.
Oh, okay, so
and,
here's
I
some
have-
copies, so just so that if you forget, I don't know if I got enough, but you can make a copy of any one of those. And if you want to see some of the stuff, this dates back to 2011. That was in the pictures I sent, but if some of you
Yeah.
guys didn't see it, you might want to look at it. It shows the 2011 Snaposaurus event. That was a wild event. A lot of people you can see were there, and there's other pages with other stuff on there as well. 2009 is in that grouping, and let me give one to like back here. I don't think you guys know, so I'll give you one line, but you might want to take a peek at that, just so you see what we do.
And I think one of the things that's worth mentioning about an event that we'd want to do today is a lot of these past events were very much theme-oriented events, focused on jets, focused on extreme aerobatic stuff.
Right.
And I think to try to develop that outreach piece and to get kids more interested, we want them to see the full spectrum of the hobby, from the trainer to the sport airplane to the advanced aerobatic airplane to the jets. So they see the entire spectrum and they get a sense that there is accessibility
Yeah.
into the hobby, and they're not just seeing one niche of it. So I would anticipate any event that we'd want to put on would be a broader spectrum so that the audience gets a better feel from where you start to where you can develop into as you advance in the hobby.
Typically, if you haven't seen the events that we've done before here, is we look to some of our special interest groups. Special interest groups would be the guys that do the aerobatics, like IMAC, the jet groups, JPO group. We bring them in, people that fly scale aircraft, people that might fly warbirds. And what we'll do is, as we see the group, and we get an idea because we let them register. We plan it out so that on a noontime air show, which is the big attraction thing, sometimes we run it twice a day, one at 11 and one at 3. But when we do that, we might let Jim's group go out, and these guys years back would go out there and do some of the words. What were they? When you'd all hover and gang together and
Gaggle.
gaggles. I
Gaggle
forget
hover.
all the words, you know. And so they do the gaggle. They'd all be blowing smoke and doing this, and I'd be snapping pictures. But yeah, so we take that and package it in that way. What we've learned since doing those events, and I think that's what Tom was alluding to, is that oftentimes when the spectators come out, we wow them to the extent that they go, wow, what's this cost? And then we tell them, well, that jet with twin motors is $25,000, and all of a sudden you've lost them. So what we do now is we come out and we have what we call reasonably priced. We don't call it reasonably priced aircraft, but we call it marketable aircraft that are reasonably priced. So a new aircraft now, say an F-16 jet, you can buy a jet with ducted fan motors, 80 millimeters, maybe with twins in it. You can buy electric retracts. Thing's gorgeous. It's all made out of foam though. It's not a turbine power. But it's got the sound, the look, and when it's in the sky and it comes in for a landing, it's still a wow factor. So we want to show them that. We want to show them the trainer airplanes. And then we also take a group during the afternoons and most of these, and we'll bring up 4 or 5 of our instructors, and we'll set up buddy boxes, and we'll say, come on, get a line of kids, take tickets, you come up, take the buddy box, we'll fly you. We'll bring in simulators, we set them up, and you've operated the simulators, so you know. So that's a plus. So we're providing them with a good captioned look at what the hobby and aeromodeling is about. And I'm going to give you these because it's a one-page handout that we give at all the events to anybody new, and I tell a lot of districts and other VPs to do the same. On this one page on both sides is everything you got to know about the AMA, and it tells you about the entry-level planes to start. It tells you about the trust test, because all of our members will be trust tested, and they'll be checked, and enforcement will take place. If they fly at this event, there'll be our flight line safety officers will require them to shut down transmitters to make sure fail-safe systems are automatically activated if the control link is lost. So we take all those precautions. So this sheet tells us about the AMA. Good part of what's on this is all the links to our websites, our YouTube channels, everything that you want to see. But I'll give you all one of those because if you ever need to know anything about what we do, Steve, pass those out. It'll be in that. This is what our typical magazine looks like, and this is what I'm responsible for the last 19 years, every month, writing my little column, which is a pain in the neck, but I do it every month, and I struggle with it because I'm not to write it, but it's part of what we do. We'll market and advertise in this. We can do that. And then, if you just want a quick flyer on aviation, I'll leave you with a bunch of these. Model aviation. It tells you all about what we would be handing out. I don't know if you want to just take a couple of these, and I don't know if some of you guys want to just take a few of those. Whoop, sorry. And those will be helpful. And then there's other stuff that we provide too when we come in that we use to promote the sport.
Hey, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
First of all, I've been a modeler my whole life.
Yep.
I'm not kidding when I say I've built 50, 60, 70 model airplanes myself. I'm a great enthusiast
Yep.
until I started flying Cessnas.
Yep.
We've had fly-ins here 3, 4, 5 times in the past 5, 10 years, and it was your organization, is that correct?
And myself, yeah.
Yeah.
ICD.
Was there any other organization that ever came here and held such an event, Jim?
Most of them were the JIT guys.
Yeah, but they were all
But that
part
was all
of,
part of it.
that was all
Part of the
part of
AMA,
it.
yeah.
Everyone that was here went through my office.
And I guess, obviously, the airport commission needs to bless such an event.
Yeah.
What are the reasons, Jim and others, why we might choose not to hold such an event?
Yeah.
Jim?
What would be the reasons?
Yeah. Let me ask, I mean, has
I don't
anyone
know.
ever been killed at an AMA event?
To my knowledge, 3 people have died, 5 in all. in all the years that the AMA started, which was back in 1936.
Through accidents,
Through, most of the time.
collisions, right?
The biggest accident, believe it or not, was from people here in New England, but it didn't happen in New England. They went to a Patriot game in New York City, and a guy who wasn't a member of the Academy, but a modeler, made one of those models that looked like a lawnmower. You've seen them fly, but they use the lawnmower body as an airfoil for lift. And he was flying it, and with 3 people from New Hampshire sitting in the audience, and it flew into the crowd and killed 2.
Yeah.
And that was...
Okay,
that
besides
was-
that, besides the potential for injury and maybe death, are there any reasons why we would not want to do this, Jim, that you can think of?
No, I can, because they were, they're insured, they've been doing it for a long time,
Yeah, they've been here
and been
5,
here
6 times
several
that I can recall.
Yeah, more than that, I did 5, but the good news is that right now, and I mentioned it before you came in, we're now not just AMA people operating under the 1982 AC document 9157, but we're under 9157C, and we're under the 2018 Reauthorization Act, which, to answer your question, means that all of our safety programming is vetted through FAA and approved now, every bit. And if I want to make a change in something my committee did, and we revise all the time as technology advances, I've got to go through the FAA now. So we're really...
I've been to a couple other airports where these events were going on.
Yeah.
They always, I'd radio in, and then they
Absolutely.
tell me to extend the downwind or something, and then I'd be able to get in. So
I'm
I'm basically for it. Is there anyone else in Gardner's hierarchy that needs to bless such an event, Jim?
I don't, I mean, I will obviously go to the mayor and talk to him, and I have to find out how they ran some of the events in Gardner for the, the food trucks and all this other stuff. 'Cause,
In some cases,
I think that
we
it's,
did.
I mean, they've been doing a lot of things, and I'm not sure if it's Square Two that's doing it, or
Yeah.
whatever, or the chamber.
Not much money flows to the airport or to the city, but there's a little bit of revenue flow, right?
Yes, well, whatever happens, whatever we can generate is ours. And that's what I'm trying to,
When we do
Yeah,
the
there's
gate,
pilot fees, nobody flies for free, they pay to be
I
here
mean,
for those days.
we're not doing it as a profit generating
Right, no.
thing for
We're
us.
not
We're
here to
doing
make
it
I'm not,
as a awareness piece for the community and to try to help bring aviation to the broader community.
We wouldn't do it just because of the money flow either. We would do it for
Yeah.
exactly those reasons, to entertain the city,
yeah,
to give the
It's-
people of the local region something to do,
if
and to promote the value of this airport.
yeah, that's what I'm
if you
trying
need to get some cooperation on what I said now, you can call and check, and I'll send it to you. You can check with the Concord Airport. We just finished the event there. We've been doing it there for years. You can check with Mount Washington. You can check with Beverly Airport. You
Yeah,
can
I've
check-
flown into
Yeah, I mean, we run.
Plum Island, I've flown in.
Yeah, Plum Island. We just got invited to Hampton Airport.
Yeah.
And,
Pretty short runway.
That's a private
Yeah.
tour.
yeah,
So,
that's private.
so during the year, I'm.
For us, it's not a
voting
problem.
So this would be one event in the summer of '23?
with that. Well,
Well, the only thing is around, like I say, we haven't got any definite dates on when they are gonna start construction. But, we're
So
estimating
it sounds
sometime.
like earlier would be better, because if your construction gets pushed out and we plan for like, say, September, that date could get compromised.
Right.
Yeah. Because of the schedule being pushed out, but if we try to find a date that we know is reasonably well before you plan on starting, the chances of it starting early as opposed to starting late probably doesn't sound like an issue, so I think then that date would be much safer.
the problem, like you said, all these projects sometimes get delayed. You never know. I mean,
Well, we've been
Plum
delayed
Island got
for a
delayed.
year already.
Yeah.
So if you're not expecting to start till July, if you look at something in June, it's probably gonna be a pretty safe date, and you wouldn't have to worry about moving.
My window to do a larger event has always been 2 to 3 months, so.
Yeah,
Can I shorten it? Yeah, we just have a smaller event, I don't mind doing that. I just want to open the doors.
I wanna, yeah, and we need to, we've gotta learn too, what we can do and what we have to do and what we help them.
I mean, we'll work with you any way you want to go.
Right, but, you know, I mean, there's a lot of unknown on our
Oh,
part,
sure,
and I'm sure you guys are
yeah.
pretty well a machine to put it together.
Well, and one of the
and do it.
advantages you have here is the way everything is configured and spaced. It's very easy for us to set up a spectator line
We
that's
can
well
control
back from the
very
flight
easily.
area
Right.
and all that, so you got more than enough space to set up very safe boundaries. So that the pilots have a very wide and safe space to fly, and we don't have to worry about getting too close to the spectators.
Yeah, parking is not an issue here either.
No,
That is
that
an,
field over there is very
Right.
good.
that is an issue in some of the events that we do, but.
Right.
Yep.
And, because the only event we get involved in a little bit, we don't get any money from it, is when they hold fireworks down here, because there's a Polish American Country Club.
Oh, yeah.
Is on the other side of the pond when we first turn in, and they have fireworks there, and we were the overflow parking up here for it, but we didn't realize anything from that. It was just, that's the way they were gonna do it. A lot of people came up here and didn't even go down there because it was crowded and everything, so they just stayed up here and watched the fireworks, because you could see them. And
Also, I don't recall the events that we did here, that we ever had any complaints from any neighbors or anything.
I don't think
That is
so.
a consideration sometimes.
Yeah.
I do know that with some of the airports that we work with every year, they will bring in the vendors and they'll take a percent of the profit and we don't get involved. So if somebody wants to,
Well, that's why I wanna
Capture
check,
some,
I wanna check
yeah,
how the city does it, because they've
Yeah.
held several events throughout the year
yeah,
where they have a food truck.
yeah,
You know, they had in front of City Hall, they had several food trucks show up.
oh, yeah.
And then they do it on a regular basis around town, and they have different events. They have a sidewalk sale type
Yeah.
thing and all that sort of stuff. And so I wanna
You can pull
touch
in,
base and figure out how those are
Food
done.
trucks keep people here longer, right? If they know that they can get onto
They don't have to
food,
go anywhere.
They
they're
can
inclined to
have
stay
the
anything
longer.
they
average,
eat.
a reasonable event, a reasonable average event can pull in $1,400, $2,000 on a food truck,
Right.
sharing. You know, depending upon the crowd you get, the
Yeah.
size of the event.
Well,
it
there's
does
a
speak- it is a
learning curve
resource.
to that too, because you gotta finesse it.
Yeah,
One of the bigger events that I've ever attended was up in Jaffrey,
yeah,
at the airport up there when they had the fireworks.
yeah.
And that was, I knew a little bit about that, and they split everything a third and a third and a third.
Yeah,
And, but that hauled in a tremendous amount of money.
yeah,
And, but it was absolutely the best. Of course, we don't have a fireworks company
yeah.
in our town, but that's
Yeah.
kind of the stuff. This is an easy sell because it's related to aviation.
Yeah,
If I was trying to do a car show
Yeah.
or a carnival or anything like that, it would be a lot harder
yeah.
because it's not related to
When
aviation.
we do Concord, for example, they do bring in the car show people, they do bring in the vendors, and the vendors are in these beautiful little structures, and they set them all up in a line. Beverly's did the same thing. So everybody finds out how much leeway they got.
And they also did
area.
just scale exhibitions of the full-scale stuff, so
Yeah,
if you do have area pilots got really interesting airplanes that they'd be willing to come in for the day
Well,
or two
we might
and
be
show
able
those
to get-
off, you can incorporate that in as well.
and that's some of the stuff that I want to, there's a lot of ideas on a lot of ways you can combine.
Yeah, that might be
And we
2024 when we bring in
Yeah.
some full-scale
Yeah.
Well, we
pilots.
gotta get something going.
Yeah,
That's all
I mean,
we're
that
trying to
would
do.
really shake the town up. We got pilots on our list that we can call, we know what they get for fees, and whether or not we can make the fees get paid, or they're getting, you know, most of them
think so.
sponsored anyway.
Yeah.
But we have to work some deals there, but we've done that.
I think the last air show that I can remember was in the 70s,
Here, an
Yeah.
actual full scale?
a full-scale
Well,
air
that's
show.
nice to know.
Because they had the flying farmer and all that sort of stuff, and
Yeah.
that was always entertaining.
Yeah,
And, huh?
Walt Pierce.
yeah.
Yeah. And,
So listen, all we're looking for today, or all you're looking for today is a green light, right?
Well, we need a green light that you're interested in, we're happy about that, we know you're interested, and we certainly are. The problem is that I think we've adjusted a bit, and you mentioned it, that if we're gonna pick a window for 2023, it should be before they start construction.
yes.
So that would.
Otherwise,
Okay.
otherwise we'll push it maybe into
Yeah.
October, and if they
It
don't
has to be
finish
then.
in
And
time,
then-
October,
Right,
too.
right.
yeah.
I would go for something late April to maybe the second week of June.
Yeah, I think that'll work. And what I
And,
can do is,
the-
when I get the contract with these contracts,
The airport's tied up with the runway from when to when?
Well, we're going for July 1st,
Till,
90
90
days.
days.
wow.
July, August,
May is not a good month because you get the Joe now, you know.
I'm not
Well,
going.
plus you got a lot of rain.
Yeah, the weather's a little iffy.
You gotta.
I mean, one
Well,
of
it
the
depends, it could
advantages,
be either April or May.
one of
Right,
the
right.
advantages of going into June
And
is you
I
can
mean-
maybe tie in a Father's Day component to it and get families who are
Yeah.
always looking for
I
things
mean-
to do on those
Well,
weekends.
June
to-
is open in my mind because a lot of the airports that we are doing events aren't doing it in June.
Yeah,
Right, and I would say April, but we might have snow on the ground.
the weather's
Yeah.
usually still pretty iffy.
Yeah.
Up here, we get a lot of snow.
So why don't you, see what you think about June, if you could give us a window, that's fine, and it can be temporary for now, and just keep me posted. But as soon as I know that something's gonna happen, we'll figure out, and we'll get more into how we market it, and see how well you think that works into what you might wanna include that the town will allow you to do.
Besides giving you a
That's
green
why-
light, what do you need from the commission here in Gardner?
The things for you guys to
Yeah, you
do,
need a date,
we need the date,
and you need
yeah.
a green light,
Yeah.
and do you need anything else?
Well, I guess it depends if you guys wanna invest in the vendors and stuff like that, you know.
Well,
That's why I've got to talk to the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta let us know.
Yeah.
We don't wanna tread on grounds we're not supposed to be on because of conditions that exist with the town. And we've had airports when they've said, you can't offer this or sell this, you can't have a raffle, and there may be a bunch of stuff that's local and governed
Yeah,
by zoning here
Yeah,
that I'm not sure of, because
Yeah,
every place is different.
I think if you guys could lay out the conditions, and then, you know, like, we're completely open to the planning, right? So if you guys say, here's a list of food truck vendors that are local, we'll contact them and try to work out the arrangements and see if we can get them scheduled in to come out, right?
They may find the town wants to do that.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying with the
Yeah.
conditions.
Yeah.
If they say one of the conditions is the town's gonna take care of that, great, then the town could take care of that. If not, we don't wanna put the burden on the airport to
Yeah,
have
I
to do this
have,
planning, we can do that.
They've cut district budgets for us across the United States 30%. So what I was doing in 2015 and 18 was a tremendous difference, that's what I can do today. But I certainly kick into these, kick into it with the raffle, I pay for the hotel bills, for all my guys that come to help, for the AVPs. So we take care of that, we take care of the sanctioning fees, any waiver costs that may be incurred to do that, we take care of that. We typically use our people so that you don't have to. Now, does that happen with other places? It's usually a shared thing in other places where I'll see if they bring in their own people, their own little people that want to show and sell things and whatever they happen to be, like a fair and set up, and some of them do that. Then we don't get involved, and they
Yeah.
sell the booth space and all that. We tell our guys, listen, you got a spot, that's where you're gonna line up your tents. Now, the tent costs, we pay for the big tents, from the entry fees we may charge for some of the pilots that wanna
Right.
be in there. And the small pop-ups for the people that drive in, we found over the years running these events, the average guy wants to drive 70 miles. Do we get people that come from the other side of the country every now and then? The crazy wants to come because he knows somebody's gonna see here or whatever, and we'll get that. So that enters into our planning as well.
Jim, are we gonna take a vote here, the commission tonight? Is that one of the things we're doing?
Probably be a good idea to get things moving,
Well,
if
let's,
you, unless you think we
I
should
think-
wait, but
I think I've, heard plenty, and I'm for it, but I think you ought to get a formal vote from the committee that's present, right?
Yeah, and
I'm for June.
we can get, well, here again, it's, to, allow the AMA to hold an event in 2023 here, preferably before the second week, for the middle of June. I'll put that in as a way to do
I'll
it.
do my best to follow up by the end of this week with
Should
the
we-
earliest start date the contractor thinks they can start. That
Yeah.
way you can plan
Yeah,
accordingly
I
for
mean,
something.
take whatever
ahead of
time you need, because that's,
Because that, I would expect
Well,
this.
I got married in 2020, and I understand planning this stuff takes a while, so
Well,
I'll get you as much time as I can.
fortunately, with all the social media out there now, the ability to kind of not have to plan promotion until much closer to the event
Correct.
makes it much easier. If you were relying purely on print, we
Yeah.
need to get the dates locked in much further out so that we
Right.
could promote it. But with everything being electronic now, knowing it so far in advance isn't quite as critical.
So, have we had this vote already, Jim?
So we have, basically it's a unanimous vote.
Okay. And
Commissioners
beyond
are here.
that, this commission is gonna be accommodating, and you're gonna approach the city about various details, and
See what they say, if he, you know, if they,
and beyond that,
Get their
we'll
blessing
just,
if we can.
we'll just respond to queries that come at us from the AMA here, and
Yep.
that's it, we'll do whatever.
because I
we
don't
can
know
do.
what else is
Just-
planned for
yeah.
the city.
Yeah,
Because there, I know he is big on trying to get a lot of stuff going on.
and, we're all grounded come July, we can't fly in July.
Well, we're all moving somewhere.
Yeah, I'm moving,
With
that's
a-
for sure.
Yeah. So,
And you could also stress to the city that, you know, we do have insurance,
yeah,
ample
the
insurance
and.
and a very good safety program, you know.
Yeah. No, I think I can answer most of those questions for them.
yeah, in fact,
And-
some of those documents I gave you, cover
Yeah.
insurance.
So the
Would-
number's
would
$5
like
million, is that?
Non-hookup camping be allowed?
Yeah, or we can
Yes.
increase it
Is
above
that the
I
that.
think that was the one thing, because a lot of motorhomes
Jim.
were coming in.
I got 3 of these.
$5 million is the liability number, but you can,
That varies.
vie for a bigger number if you
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
If you got a market for us, here's some stuff. Here's covered, wherever you fly, whatever you fly, covered.
Okay.
A couple of things about manuals, guidelines.
Okay.
Like one of the things that we can do is if the city can provide us contacts
Just so you know.
at the local
Well,
schools,
That's why
we can get information out to the schools, the science programs and things like that, to make them aware of the
STEM
event.
process that they're talking
Absolutely, we
about.
can have
Right.
a STEM tie into it and get communications directly to those programs so that we can get as much visibility as possible to get kids to talk to their parents and get them out here at the airport that weekend.
When
Yeah,
we
we
did,
could set up simulators in a tent and they can go at it. We just recently,
There's
as
a
a
lot
club
of
I have in North Haven, we just had a youth day. And we had about 20 people, 20 kids, and then their parents flew afterwards. And they we started them off on simulators. There was a couple who had already spent some time in the simulator, so we got them right up to the flight line. And I mean, we ended up with like 4 members and a couple of parents and their kids joined, and you know, it was a really great thing. It's definitely something that we'll be doing every year, but
Yeah.
you know,
at Sanford Airport, we actually had them bus kids in. They bused in a load of kids to the event, but that was a
Right.
giant event. This could turn into something like that, but don't even think
But
about
we don't
it.
want that. We're
Don't think about
not
it.
ready for it.
Yeah, no. You're not ready for 20,000 people, that's for sure.
Because there's a lot of logistics that goes with it.
Oh, yeah, it's a learning thing
If
every
you,
time.
you've got the porta potties, you've got police, fire,
Yeah,
coordination.
that's
What
another
they
thing
want.
that just happened
Which
was,
town, we have 2 towns we have to deal with.
the Environmental Protection Agency now has said that, when we started off with all this government and programming and everything else, we were just working with the FAA. And then all of a sudden, we discovered quickly going, and I've made several trips to Washington, that they've offset, it's now not just about safety and the use of national airspace, it's from the Department of Defense. In fact, our registration system, we wanted it in the courts. Based on the original ruling, they couldn't do it, but then the FAA did what all government agencies do. They turned around and they made it an emergency act under the DOD. So now the Department of Defense set it. So what we've learned is security always overrides safety. So when you're getting in a situation and the security partners of the government are gonna get involved, you're gonna have a problem. The latest one we learned of this week is that the Environmental Protection Agency now wants to review all our safety programming coming out to make sure that as we acquire our sites now that are gonna be designated FAA sites, they're AMA, but they're designated FAA, will be vetted through the Department of Energy to make sure, environment, and to make sure that we're not doing something in the environment, which most of our air operations now are pretty safe. We fly more electrics now in many clubs than we do internal combustion engines. But that's another hurdle we gotta, it never ends.
Now, what do you guys do about rain days?
When we have them, we went to the bowling alley here every time we had them. I said to him, when we came up, I said, I remember going over there, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was pouring rain, we took 5 guys, 10 guys, covered the mosquitoes.
We got 2 bowling alleys in town.
Oh, you got 2?
Small
Well,
ball
well
and
said
big,
that.
and the big ones.
Yeah.
We have had a few events with total washouts, like the one here we had, that was a real washout.
Well, we caught
But
one
we had
and a
some-
half days
yeah.
that were good.
But
Do
usually,
you have a rain date?
It's too hard to
yeah,
set
it's too
up.
hard.
We do it for the small events though.
Not only that, we had one in June, right, I mean, you know, when if you had a rain day, it would, be July, and that's not
I mean,
gonna
the
work,
nice thing
you know.
about a 4-day event is, if you're getting rain for 4 days, you're jinxed.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah,
so-
usually the longer events, you just kinda wait it out.
Yeah.
You'll get one,
And
a
there'll be
day or
guys
two
flying,
that are
there'll be
rough.
some
and
guy
then-
going with his hand in a plastic bag.
That's why I built, it's gotta be real big hangers, we can put some indoor events.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's another reason why the 3 or 4 days is important,
Yeah.
because if a guy's gonna drive 200, 250 miles, if it's only a day or two and the weather is iffy, he's gonna say, forget it, I don't wanna risk driving out there to be rained out. If it's 4 days and only a couple of days might be scheduled to be iffy, he's still gonna wanna make that trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or she.
Or she.
We have many female pilots.
Okay. Well, I think we've
Sounds
given
good.
our blessing, and we'll just take some home.
Sounds good to
Great,
me.
great.
And we'll go from there.
It wasn't a hard sell.
No,
No,
thank you very much for your showing interest.
You don't wanna do Roberts anymore, we can't get you interested?
There's only so many hours in the day.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And this job I've done for 18 years, I keep saying, I gotta stop doing it, or I gotta delegate this guy, I've been delegating stuff to him, and he did a great job at our last meeting. I'm saying if I get more guys like him, I might actually stop flying my mouth again.
Yeah, you should consider it.
Yeah.
Now that
I gotta sell a film.
this whole Washington stuff is starting to quiet just a little.
Well,
It is.
That's
Maybe.
where we start, 2023.
Last plane
Yeah,
I
it's
built
gonna
was
take
a
a
60 powered pattern ship.
Oh,
I
nice.
crashed it in Fairbanks, Alaska.
That was,
I haven't flown since, I think.
the hobby's easy now,
Okay.
get into it.
you're welcome to hang around.
You
I
guys
would
are
like to
happy
get
to
the
get
rest of the
going.
meeting going, but
We'll let you get to.
you can, you're welcome to stay if you like.
Yeah, well, we have a drive, a bit
Yeah.
of a drive, so.
I wanna thank you for
Hey,
coming.
thank you, thank you for having
I'm
us.
sorry Rob couldn't be here,
Just
because he
all the way
worked
back
on
to
this
the
hard.
as far back as you can go.
Thank you again.
Did all you guys get all the information?
Yes,
Okay, good.
I'm sure we can get more if we need.
Oh yeah, just let me know, I'm trying to get rid of it.
I know we're shaking hands, but I'm gonna shake
No,
hands.
that's
Thank you.
fine, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm COVID next.
I'm
gonna bump hands.
Oh, okay.
Got a bump shoulder,
No problem, no problem.
but,
Okay.
no, that's very good.
Yeah, good meeting
Like I
you
said,
guys.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry we couldn't.
All right, nice
put
to meet you,
together last
former
week.
AMA member.
We were all pressed.
Probably was, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's, it's tough with Christmas and everything.
Thanks again.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys giving us the time to come on
Yeah,
and talk.
appreciate
No
it.
problem, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice to
I
meet
got
you.
a bump hand, so
Yeah, thank
don't
you.
squeeze my hand too
Good
hard.
work. Thank you. Help
Very
us out
good.
here. Yeah, accomplished tonight, yeah. All right.
Okay,
It was very
Thank
productive.
you. Have a good
Thank you.
meeting.
All right.
Drive
If
safe.
you left something, call us.
Thank you very much.
You'll be back.
Yep.
Will it be back?
alrighty, okay,
Be a fun event.
we gotta get, you're next.
I'm up.
You're up.
So, I'll keep it brief.
That guy likes to talk.
Yes, he does.
We
Whoa, it's gonna be
are,
interesting doing that.
I think I like coming to these, my son would love it.
Yeah,
So, we're administering 2 projects on behalf of the commission, the first being the runway project. All of the funding is now in place. I received signed copies of the contractor's contracts tonight, so that takes care of any requested actions. The only other item of note is that, based on my discussion with Owen at Mass DOT, he said he can get us the payment voucher form sometime in the next couple of weeks. Once we get that, we can process the first reimbursement request for the design of the project.
You're gonna design the runway, is that what you're designing?
That's all done, it's already out to bid.
So what project are you designing?
This reimbursement is just to get Gale paid. So we will file that. I'll send it to you likely via DocuSign unless you have.
I think the mayor's gonna, he didn't want me signing anything, so I don't know if it means anything or not.
Okay. If it has to be the mayor, it has to be the mayor.
Should be the mayor.
What's the total budget?
Total budget on the project is 5.38 million.
What portion of that is being paid by Gardner?
2.5% of it.
And Gardner is willing to pony up that sum? 2.5% of 5 million?
Yes,
Yes,
Who agreed to that?
mayor,
mayor.
Why would the mayor agree to that, Jim?
because he's getting 159, I think it is, a
Uh,
year for the next,
134.5.
for the next 5 years.
135,000
Yep,
per year for
5 years.
the airport,
4 years.
right?
How's that happen?
Some grant from the state. David said it, I thought, was 5 years.
So
Something like
the
that.
mayor likes to receive that
But-
money even though it's going towards the airport, right?
Last I heard, I don't know, something
Yeah, I
like
don't
that.
know
That was
anything about the 135 the mayor's getting, but
How much of that 5 million is by the state?
7.5%.
7.5%
So it's 2.5, 7.5, and 90,
paid by the
and the
FAA.
number is 5 million, what?
5,380,000.
And it starts ballpark?
Construction?
Yeah.
I would guess mid-July.
And it's lasting ballpark 90 days?
days
That takes us ballpark into
into September.
September.
All the good flying weather.
Yeah. The contractors can usually finish a little bit ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping by the end of September you'll have your everything.
You know how deep they're digging out there when they put this new runway?
The geotech report indicated that the materials under the runway are pretty decent, so what I believe we're doing is just replacing the upper 10 inches. You have 4 inches of pavement and 6 inches of like a coarse aggregate. The rest can remain.
And you're bringing all new material in probably. And the old material's gonna go somewhere and be stored, and some of these hummocks we've got out back here.
If there are locations and the airport would like to retain the materials,
That happened last time there was a build out here, we ended up with that little mound of material over there, which it's
so
not
we
really
write
anybody's way.
into the specifications that any surplus materials can either be kept by the airport or disposed of off-site by the contractor.
I think there's some really fine material over there stored, not being used, that's what I think.
There's a pile over there, too.
Yeah.
A pile next to that.
The, what was I gonna say?
That's nice.
So that's.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of places they didn't like. If I remember hearing people talk about it, when they did the borings, there's a couple of places they wanna fix what we put in. That's,
We'll fix it.
Runway stays the same length.
It does.
but it gets narrower,
Oh, that's right.
60
It
feet.
does, it goes down to 60 feet.
That will challenge me, I think, Jim.
No, I've landed a Jaffer a couple of times, and it's
Where?
not bad,
Well,
but you gotta think about it.
The FAA posted a study, when it's your home airport, all of a sudden you're going from 100 feet to 60.
We're going from
It plays
75.
tricks on you because the pavement looks so narrow, you think you're higher up than you are, so you get a lot of hard landings initially,
Yeah.
until people acclimate to the
Yeah.
narrower pavement.
It's gonna take practice.
Yep.
Now what about the grass on the other side?
That is not a published runway, so when we're done, it still will be available for whoever wants
So you're not
to.
gonna dig
You're
into
not gonna
that?
screw it up, huh?
With the safety areas and the shoulders of the pavement, we'll just grade it down to existing and blend it to match.
Doesn't want to land in the grass.
Yeah.
I believe that you were saying that when they did Westfield, the runway to grass and all that was very solid and smooth.
That was
Transition.
Nashua, yep,
Oh, in Nashua.
yep.
Was the transitions were excellent.
So the FAA requires an 1.5 inch lip so that rainwater can run off the pavement. So you'll have that lip, and then you have 5% for the first 10 feet, and then it goes to 3% out to daylight.
So from the center of the runway out, it's what, 60 feet? So out 30 feet, the slope is how much?
It's 1% cross slope
Okay.
on the runway. It might be 2. I think 2 is.
Might be a
between
total of
1
2.
and 3%. We usually go 2 unless we want to maintain grades like we are out here. Then we would go 1%. It still provides drainage, but then from the edges it goes 5% down for 10 feet. So you get,
Out into the grass area.
Yep. This is all in grass.
No
And
change
then,
in the elevation at either end of the runway, probably, right?
if anything, they're slightly higher. We typically want to make sure we're not lowering anything.
The south end is lower, you wouldn't even think about.
We wouldn't want to bring anything
Yeah.
lower because then your
No, not lower,
obstructions
but
are
you
that
might-
much higher.
Yeah.
So if anything, we would raise it up a couple inches.
Nice.
So it should be good. And new lights, new signage, runway markings, all of that.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So that's everything on the runway. If there are no other questions, I'll move on to the second project. And I apologize, my director couldn't be here tonight. He's an airport planner and he'll be handling the master plan. So the estimated project budget for the master plan update is $166,000. The proposed project worksheet was executed by the chairman on October 28th and forwarded to the FAA. We have prepared a draft scope of work and coordinated with the FAA regarding a scoping meeting, which we would like to conduct with the Commission, DOT, and the FAA on Thursday, January 19th, if you're available. The one caveat being if there is a quorum, we have to make a public meeting, which causes some issues. So if 1 or 2 commissioners would like to attend, that
I
would
was
be
gonna
fine.
say, where is this meeting here?
It would likely be virtual,
Okay.
and Matt wanted me to make sure I asked if you would be available on that date.
Virtual meeting on when?
Thursday, January 19th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And that date is not set in stone. I was just asking if you guys are available.
Let's look at the brain.
And you said 9 a.m.?
Yes. If that works for you guys, then we can set up an Outlook calendar invitation and send it.
How long about is this meeting gonna last?
Typically about an hour.
Okay.
And the meeting subject is?
We go through what the scope of that master plan will entail.
So
So
what are we getting for $166,000, is that?
you're getting a 15 to 20 year outlook on development goals, what the airport is gonna need for infrastructure, for capacity, things like that.
So it's just a game plan.
You'll get your airport layout plan, which also has all of your projects for the next 10 to 15 years on it. If a project is not shown on your airport layout plan, the FAA won't fund it. So where the runway is the last thing on the existing ALP, we want to update that so you guys can continue accepting federal funds.
Yeah.
It's gonna be bitch trying to get that 10,000-foot runway in.
I would say so.
That,
But
500-foot addition in Pittsburgh had quite an effect on their traffic, didn't it? Or was it just 500 feet? They added to that 4,000-foot runway?
yeah, it's
438, I believe,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but they twisted it a little bit, but they still didn't get away from the approaches are still a problem.
They're problems because the FAA won't get off their butt and publish the straight in, but they are getting a straight in.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of
when?
when.
What, the approach to 3-2?
Yeah,
It would be, yeah, 3-2.
3-2 is the one with
Straight
the
in on
restricted
3-2,
zone.
it goes right by the Devon's 4103. So, we've been reassured by the FAA that you can have up to a 15-degree kink,
Yep,
up to 5 miles out, and it's still considered a straight in, so that's what they're going for.
yeah,
Cool.
because they know, Bullock down there had a problem with that on getting his jets in and out of there. This makes it a little nicer,
Yeah, absolutely.
but, no, it's, yes,
So
I can do that.
If that date works,
But here again, if it's gonna move around, that's okay too.
all right, so we will coordinate with the agencies and finalize the
Now,
date and
who's-
get that back.
Who's gonna be sending out the information for getting on the virtual? You or the mass?
I believe it's gonna be us.
Okay,
It'll be either Matt or Jackie from our office. Jackie's our airport planner. She works under Matt. And if you guys like me, you're gonna love her. I'll say that. She is
she's
awesome.
helped me out.
Yeah,
several
she does great work. She's very helpful and a
Great
pleasant
worker.
person to be around for sure.
Jack,
Yes.
who's she work for?
She works for Dave.
And this is the 5-year plan, or the master plan.
Master plan, yeah. And that's all I've got.
If you want it, I approve. I don't know. You're just informing us, right?
Yep. No motions necessary.
Are you interested in attending, or?
What, on the 19th?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm here. There shouldn't be any issues with that. What kind of day is it?
it's a Thursday
Yeah.
morning, 9 o'clock. Okay.
Boy, those AMA guys are like so enthusiastic. They just want
Okay.
to talk about every little freaking detail. Jesus Christ. You're gonna have a lot of work to do to satisfy those AMA guys, Jim, I think, with every little detail that they need to arrange. Unless you talk them into doing all the work themselves.
Well, that's what I just want to find out, because I think we should, I would like to make some money off of it.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
And I would like to, because if we're gonna do anything with this piece of building here,
We need money.
we gotta raise it ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything else coming down the road right now.
Yeah, it's.
But I think there's a lot of coordination that's gonna
It's
be
a great
done.
event. I know I have
So,
grandkids that
we
would
can
just
talk.
go nuts if they had an airplane
Yeah.
show to go to.
Let's get through the agenda, and then we can go from there. The fire alarm, I have not gotten a coordinate, I have not heard from them. I'm gonna call them and see if we can find out and try and get the fire alarm
For this
Yeah.
building.
for the hangar, replacing the heat detectors.
Yeah, right.
There was the grant assurances, which was signed by the mayor, and you got a copy of what that grant assurances were? An email, any questions, or anything like that? I think we've got to basically vote in the affirmative to make it legal. I don't know if it does or not, where the mayor just crossed everything out and signed it. So I think it's been signed and it's been filed, and so I think everything is all set there. I just wanted to have a positive vote from the committee, so I need a motion.
And we just,
Second.
what is the motion for? That we agree to these,
Affirmative on the grant assurances to sign, and
the grant of assurances?
grant assurances.
It's a list of items that the airport commission and the airport have to comply with in order to receive those funds.
So you're talking about the funds, the $5 million sets of funds? is that
Correct.
right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
So those.
it's just kind of
Yeah.
dots the
Like
I.
you will keep the airport open to the public.
Yeah.
Right.
You will maintain safe.
Well, I move that we all vote here to agree to the grant
To do
of
that.
assurances that were proposed by the mayor, is that correct? Or no?
This was by the assurances that you have right there from Mass DOT.
Mass. Yeah. Okay, the beacon lights, we haven't done, I haven't done anything with that, and my question is the one up at Wilson's out?
I couldn't tell you. That's-
I haven't seen it in 2 weeks.
Without the windows, it might be.
No, you can see it only from up,
I'll look on my.
after you go run, but take a look.
I'm pretty sure it's on.
I don't know, I haven't seen it in 2 weeks. I had, when I go around the bend on the road here, I could see it, and I looked and I couldn't see it. And then when I'm up on Route 2 coming by East Dublin exit, I can see it there, and I haven't seen it. So I'm not sure it's working.
I'll
That's
check
one
on my own.
The one on Cottage Lane?
No,
Behind
Cottage
Wilson.
Lane has been out for several years, and I don't know what it is, but here again, that's another thing that's Gardner's our dime. We don't get any, there's no grant money, there's no nothing to take care of it. And that was gonna be my in to, I was trying to get it fixed, but I don't know if they're going to make them, these, what they call them, the commissioner,
Oh.
or if they're going to all or none. And it's, to me, it's probably not a bad idea having them, but
Doesn't it work like Cottage Lane, Wilson, and then Ken Kozlowski?
Kozlowski.
Yeah.
And Kozlowski is the one that's gonna cost a lot of work, because there is, the wires are all down. So, that would be,
And he's sabotaging those wires, is that right?
Well, he shot one out last time.
but we don't know.
We don't know.
All we're saying is that Rob went up there and talked to him and tried to talk to him, and there is nothing available for grants or anything like that. So it's all on Gardner's dime, and I don't know how many thousands of dollars it would take to run the wire up there, and I don't even know if the poles are up or anything like that. I have not been there,
The poles are up, you can see the poles
going up through
going up,
there.
that's
yeah.
where I go by.
So I don't know what's, that is kind of on hold right now. We're trying to figure out what we can do. The airport manager, there were 3 applications. They did interviews last week.
Back to the lights, I'd be willing to have my electrician take a look at that whole subject if you wanted me to have that done.
Get a bulletproof vest.
But,
Well, let me just make a comment there, and we should not allow any aspect of the infrastructure of this neat little airport to go down the rat hole because there's some crazy fuck up in the
no,
woods. who doesn't-
all we're doing is, all I'm trying to do is figuring out what I've got and where the money would be coming from.
Yeah.
And that, I've talked to the Cobo Engineering, was the ones that put them up originally, and he's willing to come up and do a survey of them and give us an estimate. And that's,
I think
I
that's,
haven't done it,
I
but
think that'd be a good thing to do, Jim, is to have a survey done by whoever the hell installed them. But I'm just gonna repeat that we should not be lax about
No.
maintaining the structures.
that's what I'm trying to
that
do.
make up this
But
airport.
the comment that I made when I talked to the FAA was, or the Mass Dot, they said, they made the comment that possibly they weren't gonna be needed because GPS is so prevalent, and that it shows the elevations, and everybody has GPS now, and moving maps. So,
He's not flying around with GPS, I don't think.
Oh, yeah.
but
Are you?
at any rate,
You're not
I
flying
will talk
around
to
with
him and
radio, right?
find out if he's still willing to come up and do it. I haven't talked to him since September. But I'll wait till warmer weather when we can traipse around up there in the woods and do a good job. The other thing is that Cottage Lane, we got to go in there with wood whackers and chainsaws to make it so we can get to the tower. Because it's 50-foot square around it, and it's just full of suckers that are growing 10 or 20 feet, so we gotta.
Well, you could get a group together and go up and do that, I'd
Well,
certainly
we
volunteer.
gotta, as soon as the weather clears up, I'm gonna cut those trees
And
down.
I'll be happy to help down there with
So-
that as well.
I'll talk to you later about getting together then. Like I said, the airport manager they've interviewed 3, I haven't heard anything more than
And this is the guy who's gonna manage 2 or 3 different airports, is that correct?
that. I don't know,
See, I put in my application.
they may be still looking, haven't gone for an interview?
And what are the airports, please? This one and Orange, is that right?
We don't know,
Well,
no,
I would, if it happened to be me, it would just be this one.
yeah.
And it's part-time, correct?
Yeah,
20 hours a week.
I don't know how many hours, I don't know if it's specific on hours.
Do you know who put in for it?
No, I haven't heard a word that way, other than that they said that, I was in talking to our secretary, it's the same office, and she, same out and said, we have 3 interviews scheduled. So,
Okay.
they did them last week, and I don't know if there's gonna be
Who
any
does the
more.
interview?
Huh?
Who does the interview?
Human resources, they're,
Gardner?
yes, what's her name?
Debbie?
Deb, Deb, can't think of her last name at the moment, anyhow, she does the interview.
She wasn't
Yeah.
there when I went to
Huh?
She wasn't there when I
Yeah,
went.
well, I don't know what her schedule's like or how that is,
So
so
what did you say?
I'm waiting on that.
Fred Henshaw. Al put him up for that.
The,
Doesn't make any sense, because he has no aviation background whatsoever.
I have nothing to say about Fred.
the only thing I think is for maintenance of equipment that's gotta be done, should be, is the big dump truck. I was kinda hoping that we'd get Rob had offered to do it, but he's been sick, so I don't know and you had talked something about taking it to somebody, or
What's wrong with the truck, please, I've forgotten.
needs an oil change. But whether we do it or
I
whatever.
am willing to take care of that. If somebody give me the keys, I'll have my truck mechanic do that. How's
You know,
that sound?
we've got the oil too, don't we? We haven't got any filters, we've got oil.
We got oil, yeah.
We just gotta figure
Would
out.
he wanna
how
drive
much
it to get it done elsewhere, or would he do it right here, would you think?
If we can do it here, that's one thing. The other thing that I noticed on these is we need to get inspections.
What is it, a dump?
Yeah, the new truck,
The new truck, it's a Freightliner.
Freightliner.
It's the one ton or
Oh, no,
the
this is
2.5 tons.
2.5 ton
Yeah.
plow truck, is that what it
plow
is?
truck, the big one, yeah.
And,
That's a 5-ton truck.
the
Yeah.
5 ton,
Yeah.
I don't know how they rate it.
All right, Jim, well, seriously,
We can look at it, and
I will pick up that truck and I'll deliver it to my
right
mechanic.
now it's got a, we'll put plow on the front.
And I'll have that's not a problem, and I'll have the oil changed, if that's what you'd like to have happen.
I'd like to get an oil change and greased and just kind of
Serviced.
look at over service.
Yeah,
Because it hasn't been done since it got here.
and it's gratis, so I'm just gonna pay for it, okay?
Well, we bought the oil. We have oil and we have, I don't know if we have filter for
I
it.
think we got probably like 5 gallons of it down there.
Yeah, it's at least,
At least 5.
probably at least 5 gallons.
Yeah.
So at some point, somebody just need to show me the stuff and I'll make it happen.
Yeah, the only thing we're gonna have to get is the
Filter.
filter, not.
Or
not the
filters
filter,
or-
the water filter.
And maybe some air filters, I don't know, we gotta see what is needed. See if we can pick them
Thing
up.
never runs in the summer months, other than when I start it, every couple of months to make sure it starts.
Yeah,
You use it just for plowing?
Just the only way we use it for.
so I will touch base with
If
you.
you let me
and
know
we'll
when
get
you're gonna do
together.
it, I'll have the plow off it.
Because you have to be able to open the hood, you gotta access,
Yeah.
but to open the hood and look it over.
None of that is gonna be an issue for this mechanic. He does this shit.
Yeah, but I just don't.
Lots and lots of
It'll be
trucks.
much easier for him to have a plow not on.
Right.
How do you get that plow off? We got to check it, unlay something up.
There's switch hanging on the lower end.
We're on tape, you know.
No, there should be a jack in that.
Yeah, and I looked on it, I didn't see anything.
I haven't seen a jack on it, but it is, yeah, it doesn't look like it's that bad a job to take off. But we'll have to take a look at it and see. But we gotta schedule it so that we can do it between snowstorms and then go from there. The other thing is look it over for an inspection. Because,
And then get it inspected.
they are registered. I'll have to talk to TJ, because I don't know what's involved in a truck that size getting it inspected. But the only thing I do know is that he probably wouldn't want to do it because you'll have to sit in line and wait to get it done. And I don't mind
Just drop it
sitting in
off.
line or drop it off.
We haven't done any inspection ever since we got the 55-gallon drum in the back of the pickup truck.
Doesn't have to leave.
He doesn't have to leave here.
Although we did take the truck over and fill it up, and then we filled up the 55-gallon drum, and I don't know.
Yeah, we've had the pickup inspected, we never had,
Right.
as far as the loader and everything else, we didn't bother doing it, because they never let you get one.
Yeah, okay. Well, the loader we left like we can,
That was a blessing when they didn't have to drive that down the town line. That plow blade on it, all the way down the hill. It'd be worse than a snowball.
okay, any new business? Any other ideas of things that we do have, I was down here Tuesday night, and I was gonna tackle some of the trees down there. I wanted to get out and get a good look at it. While I was down here, what's his name from, with the 7, RV7,
Oh,
Johnson, Keith, Kevin was here. The lights came on, because a guy from Fitchburg came up, and he says, when I landed, he landed at night, and he says, all lights came on. Yeah, but when they turned them on, the 4 lights right out here were out on the other side.
On the other side.
So I don't know if it's just the bulbs or whatever, so I've been contemplating when I can, get down here and see if we can finish them up, because there's still 2 lights up there.
That's why I used to come down with a ribbon, and I turn them on at night, and mark the ones that didn't work, and during the day I'd come back down. Good.
So we got, but other than that, any other new business? Hearing none, we can adjourn the meeting.
It's not really new business, but how many of those airplanes out there in that nice parking lot are derelict, abandoned, never used, and just sitting there corroding away?
All but 2.
All but 2.
And
There's only 5 there.
does the airport need to allow that to happen? I mean, literally that little, it's a 172 out there, it's gold maybe and white.
He pays his rent every month, that's.
That damn thing's been here longer than I have.
Yes, no
I've
one's
never seen
gonna-
it fly.
I've never seen it move.
I've never seen it move in the 40 years.
I would think that it might be appropriate for
He's
the
paying the
Gardner
rent.
Airport Commission to send letters to the owners that say, well, I don't know what we would say, are all those things being paid for monthly?
Yes,
There's
I
that.
have,
Except for that 150 or 152, whatever it is, that's,
I don't know whose that one is.
nobody seems to know what that
If
is.
there's an airplane that's not being paid, it should,
I know that Dominic wanted to buy the
Arrow.
Arrow, and then Tommy's, TJ's,
Yeah.
has got the other one, and he's trying to decide what he's gonna do. I said, buy the parts, get it fixed, and fly it. And I don't know if he's gonna do that or not, because that's where the problem.
Yeah, he's gonna.
And then there's Eric's, which is flyable,
yeah.
and that's the only one truly that is flyable out there.
There's a 140 that's just Been there almost as long as the 172.
No, it hasn't, I don't think it's, I don't know how that many years that's been there, but
What's
I
that?
don't know.
Which one?
It's a 150.
150? That's gotta be in there.
There's the low wing Piper out there.
Yeah, it's the Arrow. It's,
Yeah, that's the
I used to
Arrow.
belong to Ronnie Richards, and then it was
Right,
Don Rogers,
right,
who was his partner.
so,
Well, I take it back. If they're paying rent, I guess that's.
yeah,
Yeah.
but, you know, they're not hangar queens because they're tight out.
Yeah,
They
They're
look,
making it look like an airport.
they look derelict.
Yeah,
Somebody come down last snowstorm and must have been the owner or whoever, pulled the tail down, tied the tail down, so the snow was slide off the wing. The tie is flat as
yeah. Well, actually, the tail got weighted down in it.
177.
Sat on its tail for a little bit. And when the snow
It comes down to
melted
so
off
often,
the tail,
it's
it came
with
back
the air
up.
and tires.
Wow.
But
How old was
that's
that?
Yeah. Used to be a mechanic for Tom Phillips.
No.
No,
Yeah,
works in
no.
Fitchburg. He's there every day of the week.
Is he?
Yeah, he lives in Princeton.
Oh,
I mean, Peterson.
pretty sure.
It's terrible.
Anything more? Need a motion?
I motion we adjourn.
Adjourn, I'll second it.
Okay, 6:41. Okay.